Good morning, class. This is Ishika ma'am, again back with the teaching learning video. So, yesterday or in my last video, I have told and have introduced Evelyn Glennie in front of all of you. Okay, and so I guess that the introduction or the introductory lessons proved to be quite very fruitful for you and it could arouse some of the interests towards the chapter. I also told you to just download the PDF or the text and then just go through them and be ready with the explanation and understanding so that once I explain it, you are quite very familiar with the text which you have already read. So to start with, this is The Sound of Music, Part 1. So the chapter is divided into two parts. So this is part 1 that tells us about Evelyn Glennie and how she listens to sound without hearing it. To brief up yesterday's or last day's lessons, so there I have introduced Evelyn Glennie, what were her limitations and all such thing. So what are the basic factors that had led that Scottish virtuoso to be there right at the zenith of the success, or how was she able to come over her limitations and difficulties? So all this we are going to see in the chapter itself. Okay, so let's just start. So this is your books page. So The Sound of Music. So before we read the lines which I'm going to read now, you are already being introduced with these lines in the video which I have provided you last day. God may have taken her hearing, but He has given her back something extraordinary. What we hear, she feels far more deeply than any of us. That is why she expresses music so beautifully. So God may have taken her hearing. I told you last day that she was profoundly deaf. God might have taken her hearing, but she has got something extraordinary. And what we hear, she feels far more deeply than any of us. We listen to music, we could hear to music, but the feeling, how music could be felt through the different parts of the body, this is there with Evelyn Glennie. Okay, so that's the reason she is able to express music so beautifully. Okay, so read the following account of a person who fought against a physical disability and made her life a success story. So not just Evelyn Glennie is successful, but she could make her life best in all the possible ways. To be in the path of music and of course becoming not just a common person but an international icon. Today, Evelyn Glennie is well known by the different musical world music. Okay, she is just a shining star in the world music. So let's just start. Para 1. Rush hour crowds jostle for position on the underground train platform. A slight girl, looking younger than her 17 years, was nervous yet excited as she felt the vibrations of the approaching train. It was her first day at the prestigious Royal Academy of Music in London and daunting enough for any teenager fresh from a Scottish farm. But this aspiring musician faced a bigger challenge than most. She was profoundly deaf. So, the chapter begins with Evelyn Glennie and her experience when she was just 17 years old and she was waiting in an underground train platform, and that it was just the day when she was going to the Royal Academy of Music in London. Okay, that's a prestigious institution where everybody urged to go. or desires to go. And Evelyn Glennie, just at the age of 17, could apply for it, and of course, she was worth getting the chance there. So, what happened? So, the train platform was there, and the slight girl who is quite very younger than her 17 years was nervous yet excited. She was nervous, and yet there was excitement as she felt the vibrations of the approaching train. And what was the excitement for? Just to feel the vibrations of the approaching train. Now, I'll bring your attention to this very phrase, felt the vibrations. With the common people like us, we can see the train approaching or we can hear the train approaching. But for Evelyn Glennie, when it's the vibrations that she is feeling out. Okay, she felt the vibrations of the approaching train. Not that she is listening to the sound and all such thing, but she could feel the vibrations. So, Evelyn Glennie and vibrations, they are quite very relative. It was her first day at the prestigious Royal Academy of Music in London and daunting enough for any teenager fresh from a Scottish farm. Okay, and this is her day when she is going to the prestigious Royal Academy of Music in London and daunting enough for any teenager fresh from a Scottish farm. Okay, daunting means frightening. So it's all very frightening for any teenager, just a girl of 17, right? She is going there in that prestigious institution, and there all a mixed feeling that comes with this girl. Okay, she is happy and of course daunting. But this aspiring musician faced a bigger challenge than most. She was profoundly deaf. But this aspiring musician who wants to take music, she has got a bigger challenge for her life, that she was profoundly deaf. Not just she was slightly deaf, or not that she was not that very seriously deaf that it could be overcome, but she was quite profoundly deaf. With this, I'll bring into the notice of Helen Keller. I guess this name is quite familiar to you all, and we know that because of a fever, Helen had to lose her her eyesight, the deficiency she could acquire of not listening and not speaking also. Okay, so it's a great story. I'll request you all to just have a look or just have some idea about Helen Keller also. So, coming back to Evelyn Glennie again. So, Evelyn Glennie's loss of hearing had been gradual. So, it's not that one fine day Evelyn got up and she could not hear, or she was not able to listen to things. But what had happened? See, Evelyn Glennie's loss of hearing had been gradual. Her mother remembers noticing something was wrong when the 8-year girl or 8-year-old Evelyn was waiting to play the piano. They called her name and she didn't move. I suddenly realized she hadn't heard, says Isabel Glennie. So what happened? That on one such occasion when Evelyn was on stage to play the piano, and Evelyn was 8 years old. In the last video, I had showed you the pictures and I have explained this part also. So there, the 8-year-old Evelyn was sitting and waiting to play the piano. Means the moment her name will be called, she is going to play the piano. But when the name was called, Evelyn did not move. I suddenly realized she hadn't heard, says Isabel Glennie. That she could understand, or suddenly the mother, Isabel Glennie is Evelyn Glennie's mother, she could understand that Evelyn did not hear the sound only. For quite a while, Evelyn managed to conceal her growing deafness from friends and teachers. Now, this is very common with any of us. We take a lot of time to accept our disabilities or our limitations. If you are lagging with something, You will never want it to be exposed to everyone outside. Same with Evelyn Glennie also. The moment she realized that she is having some problem with her listening power, or she is becoming deaf, what happened? She, for a while, started concealing her growing deafness, the deafness which was gradually growing from friends and teachers. She started concealing that. From after the age of 8, she started concealing it. But by the time she was 11, her marks had deteriorated and her headmistress urged her parents. So what happened? Just then, when she was 11 years old, her marks gradually they were all deteriorating, and the headmistress of the school urged Evelyn parents to take her to a specialist. So Evelyn was moved out of the school. The principal of the school said that Evelyn could not be a part of that proper education that is going in the school, or she cannot be a part of that very school. Rather, she must be taken out of the school and shown to a specialist. It was then discovered that her hearing was severely impaired as a result of gradual nerve damage. They were advised that she should be fitted with hearing aids and sent to a school for the deaf. Everything suddenly looked black, says Evelyn. So what happened? That it was after the specialist could diagnose, it was discovered that she was all severely impaired with her hearing power, as it was a result of the gradual nerve damage. She was the victim of the gradual nerve damage that has taken her power of hearing. So what happened? They were advised that she should be fitted with hearing aids and sent to a school for the deaf. So she was so profoundly deaf that without the hearing aid she will not be able to hear. So it was said that she must take the hearing aid and she must be sent to the school for the deaf. Everything suddenly looked black, says Evelyn. So Evelyn says when she recounts their of her past life, she remembers the day and she feels or she says that suddenly everything looked all dark and all black. So this is very common to every one of us. But there's just one thing which I'm going to say, that students, whenever you feel that the situation is getting worse, or even it's worst, or the darkness getting darker and darker, just always remember, when the deepest darkness comes, the darkness is about to end. Just the moment you'll feel like that I cannot tolerate anymore, enough of it, it's extreme, and right then you believe with the fact that of course these are going to end. Good times or bad times does not always stay with us. It of course rotates, and then when it is the extreme dark or the extreme happy moments, you need to understand that things are going to end and a new thing would come. A new morning would come after the deepest darkness in the midnight. So this happened with Evelyn Glennie also. She felt that everything looked black. But Evelyn was not going to give up. She was determined to lead a normal life and pursue her interest in music. Okay? So Evelyn Glennie was a very, not only her willpower was there, but the dedication towards something or towards the fact that she's going to be there at the top. So, for Evelyn, she never gave up. She was determined to lead a normal life and pursue her interest in music. One day, she noticed a girl playing a xylophone and decided that she wanted to play it too. So, xylophone, yesterday I showed you the percussion family and the pictures there. And of course, there was a picture of xylophone as well. And here also you can see the picture of a xylophone. So a xylophone is a musical instrument with a row of wooden bars of different lengths. So what happened? Evelyn saw a girl playing xylophone and she wanted to play it, and that she decided that she wanted to play it too. Most of the teachers discouraged her, but percussionist Ron Forbes spotted her potential. So, when there is a will, of course there is a way. So, many teachers discouraged her that no, she cannot be doing this and she will not be able to do this and all such things. But there was one person, Ron Forbes, who himself was a percussionist. He spotted her potential. Now you remember this name, Ron Forbes. Ron Forbes' name is very important in Evelyn Glennie's life. It's important, it's influential to move Evelyn Glennie's life into that light of success. And even Ron Forbes' influence affected right there in Evelyn's life. So Ron Forbes spotted her potential. He could understand that this deaf girl is capable of doing a lot more things. He began by tuning two large drums to different notes. Now, what is tuning? All of the students, or if you know it, that any musical instrument is to be tuned. Whether you are playing a guitar or whether a harmonium or even drums or even tabla, it needs a proper tuning. So what happened? Ron Forbes, he first tuned two large drums to different notes. And then two drums were there and it was tuned, right, into different notes. Don't listen through your ears, he would say. Try to sense it some other way, says Evelyn. Suddenly, I realized I could feel the higher drum from the waist up and the lower one from the waist down. So what happened? That Ron Forbes tuned the two drums there, and she only told Evelyn that you just don't listen to the music there, but you try to feel them. Okay? Don't just listen through your ears, but utilize your other senses and try to get hold of all those. Try to feel the music there. So, what happened? It was Ron Forbes' suggestion, and Evelyn says that suddenly she started feeling up music. Suddenly I realized I could feel the higher drum from the waist up and the lower one from the waist down. So with the vibrations of the drum, she could always realize that she started feeling up those vibrations. To the body parts waist upwards, she could feel the higher drum, and with the body parts waist downwards, she could feel the lower drum. Forbes repeated the exercise and soon Evelyn discovered that she could sense certain notes in different parts of her body. Now this is very important. The more you practice, you go up there to the perfection. So Ron Forbes repeated the exercise with Evelyn, and soon Evelyn discovered that she could sense certain notes in different parts of the body. Certain notes could be felt in different parts of her body. I had learned to open my mind and body to sounds and vibrations. The rest was sheer determination and hard work. She says that from that thing, or from that very practice, she had learned to open her mind and body to sounds and vibrations. The rest, not only was it practice, the rest was her sheer determination and hard work. The complete determination to do something and hard work and the practice. All these factors have contributed to lead Evelyn Glennie's life shine like a bright star in the sky. She never looked back from that point onwards. She toured the United Kingdom with a youth orchestra, and by the time she was 16, she had decided to make music her life. So, I told you that the passage or the prose piece started with Evelyn Glennie at the age of 17, but these are the things which we are talking about her past life. So after that she never looked back from that point onwards. She toured in the United Kingdom with a youth orchestra, a group of young people right there in the orchestra, and at the time of 16 she was very sure that she will be taking music as her life, to make music her life. She auditioned for the Royal Academy of Music and scored one of the highest marks in the history of the academy. Okay, so just when she was 17 and she was about to go to this Royal Academy of Music in London, before that, when she auditioned for that, she scored one of the highest marks in the history of the academy. Now you think of the girl who was not allowed to continue with the education of the normal school life, the principal who has requested or rather urged the parents to take out Evelyn out of the school and make her consult a specialist. And then the thing that she needs a hearing aid and should be sent to the house of the deaf or to the schools of the deaf. That very girl participating in the Royal Academy of Music, and she was the one who scored the highest marks in the history of the academy. Not just did she get just for her limitations, or not that she was given a sort of mercy, but then she was worth getting that position because she could secure the maximum marks and the highest marks in the history of the academy. She gradually moved from orchestral work to solo performances. Now, this is again very intriguing. How can someone who cannot hear to music plays there in orchestra? In the last video also I told you that she was able to play around 100 instruments. So she gradually from orchestral work she started doing solo performances. Now, when you give solo performances, okay, we can take it for granted that when you're using the solo performance or when you're participating there with all the equipments and here you can somehow manage doing that without listening to any other thing. But you think of orchestral music, orchestra or any sort of group performance which is there, we know that a lot of coordination needed, practice needed. So she landed up doing all these things. Okay. So from the orchestral work, she started moving to the solo performances. At the end of her 3-year course, she had captured most of the top awards. Of course, she is the one who has secured a lot of awards. Yesterday, I have shown you a number of it, or I have mentioned that what are the awards or achievements which she has all taken or she was all honored with. So, at the end of her 3-year course in the Royal Academy of Music, she had captured most of the top awards. So, by the time she was continuing with all the course there, she could also grab a lot of awards from there. Now, para 5. And for all this, Evelyn won't accept any hint of heroic achievement. If you work hard and know where you are going, you'll get there. So this is very important. You must not lose out the land there, or you must keep yourself quite there where you are standing. You will do your work, you will get the achievements. But see, Evelyn won't accept any hint of heroic achievement. When everybody goes on saying that, how did you do this? Oh, it's a great thing, and all such applause. She did not believe that she is doing something very heroic. That's very common with her, that she has given the hard work, and so she's getting the result out of that. And there's no heroic thing there. If you work hard and know where you're going, you'll get there. So it's very necessary to know that where you want to go. If you don't fix up your goal and you start moving around a ground with the football and you don't know a fixed goal post where you need to put the ball, there what will happen? You'll simply waste your time without any proper direction. So this is what Evelyn Glennie asks everybody to follow. That when you work hard and know where you are going, you'll get there. Your work should be there in a proper way, in a proper channel, and do the correct thing. And once it is there, you will of course get there with time. And she got right to the top. The world's most sought after multi-percussionist with a mastery of some 1,000 instruments and hectic international schedule. So it's not just 100, it's 1,000. So she got right to the top. The multi-percussionist, not just she has played one particular instrument, or even if she had played one particular instrument and had got mastery over it, we would all have applauded. Why? Because the girl who is deaf is participating in orchestral music, and that too, she has gone far away from the point of excellence, right? But she's even more, she's even better. Why? Because not only she is a percussionist, but a multi-percussionist with a mastery of some 1,000 instruments and hectic international schedule. So she went on doing program in different parts of the world. She became an international icon, performing in different musical concerts, and she was all very busy with this hectic international schedule. Okay, so I leave it up to this today. Till para 5, just give a reading. I hope the part which I have explained is quite very clear to you. Still, if you have any doubt, any problem, please give it in the comment section and write up to me. And I'll request all of you to just read the passage and find out the new words and try to get their meaning out of the dictionary and jot it down in your copy. I'll be providing with the things after I explain all, but you must do this work one after the other with the classes. Okay, so I'll complete the chapter in the next video, and till then, please keep a watch in the school website. Follow the instructions which are being given there. Follow the YouTube link and make yourself updated. Stay at home, stay well, and stay healthy. So thank you for now and have a nice day ahead.